Today in this video, we are going to cover a very important topic from module A of Principles and Practices of Banking, that is related to operational aspects of handling, clearing, etc. So kindly please do watch this video till end, and if you want to get all the full course videos, the chapter wise questions, mock test, mega mock test, and the complimentary access to the ePDF notes, do visit the link in the description, that is iibf.info. And if you're an Android user, you can download our Android application, which is available in the name of IIBF Learning Center. And if you're iOS user, do download My Institute application and use the organization code listed over here, that is JAIIB. If you are having any of the queries and the questions related to the same, you can get back to us on our WhatsApp number 83609442007. We'll be sending you all the details related to it, and further we'll be resolving your query over there. So let's start the session over here. It's related to the operational aspects of handling clearing over here. Now, let me just tell you, there are a lot of instruments that are being used right now by the customers over there, whether it is a check, draft, pay orders, or the trade bills over there. And further, they are payable or maybe payable locally, and further are also payable at outside centers over here. Okay. Now, the instruments which are actually payable locally are actually collected through the local clearing houses over there, or clearing housing systems over there. And the instruments which are payable outside are sent by the banks for the collection purposes. Like we are having bank A over here, and let's say an instrument is to be basically collected outside, it will be sent for collection purposes. And further, if it is to be cleared locally, it will be cleared using the local clearing house system over there. Okay, so interbank transactions among the local banks are settled by the clearing houses over there, and there can be also be a separate clearing house for the MICR based and for the non-MICR instruments. That MICR is what? MICR is magnetic ink character recognition. So in this particular unit, we are going to read all in detail about the CTS and the other clearing systems over there. Okay, so now let's start with the electronic clearing services, that is ECS over here. Now first of all, let me tell you that clearing houses whatsoever are there are actually managed by the Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of India, and any other bank which is nominated by the Reserve Bank of India. And particularly when we talk about the ECS, it's like we want to clear a multiple instruments over there, like the objective would be the same enough. So we are having the two categories for the ECS. One, it is the ECS credit, and the other one, it is the ECS debit over there. Now in this case of ECS credit, particularly there will be a single receiver of funds. Okay, the persons want to pay the utility bills. In that particular case, the customers are numerous. We are having thousands of customers, and they want to pay to the same company over there. In that particular purpose, the multiple accounts will be debited, and further the single account will be credited over there. Okay, that is actually the purpose related to the ECS credit over there. And when we are talking about the ECS debit, in that particular case, it is totally opposite, that there will be only single account that will be debited. Like a company wants to pay the dividend to the customers or the holders, shareholders over there. In that particular case, only company's account will be debited. That is a single account that will be debited, and the multiple accounts of the shareholders will be credited with the dividend over there. I'm just giving an example related to that so that you can just relate to it and further can memorize the thing over there. So in case of ECS credit, there is single credit, and further in case of the ECS debit, there is a single debit and multiple credits over there. So that's related to ECS debit and ECS credit. Then the next topic, it's related to CTS. Now what is CTS? It is a check truncation system. So truncation is a process related to what? When there is the stoppage of the physical check over there. Like in previous cases, what happened actually, that the check was actually moving from one place to another, and then it was cleared over there. But now what happens, that the check the physical check is not moving over there, but only the electronic image of the check is obtained, and further that is actually sent for clearing purposes along with the other details. So we will be learning in detail that what is CTS and what are the different components of it. Okay, so the truncation is the process of stopping the physical movement of the check over there, and instead of that, an electronic image of the check is actually transmitted along with the required information. It could be related to the relevant information of the check over there. It could be related to the MICR code. It could be related to the date of presentation, presenting bank over there, etc. All the details are being sent over there. Now, particularly the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 defines a truncated check as a what? It defines a truncated check as a check during the course of clearing cycle when the physical movement of the check is truncated, and further only the electronic image is transmitted over there, and further based upon that, the bank actually clears the payment and the account is settled over there. That's actually related to the truncation of the check over there. Okay, now with that particular regard, there were a lot of sections, there were a lot of articles and further acts over there which were actually amended so as to give effect to the CTS check over there. Like the NI Act 1881 was amended, IT Act, Information Technology Act 2000 was amended, and further the Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891 was amended, and also that gave the legal framework to the CTS over there, and e-checks was put in place in 2002 over there. Okay, so CTS was actually introduced in the banking system from February 1 and 2008, and it is now fully operational over there, and micro based check processing has been discontinued because it was too much time consuming. We basically want to reduce the clearing cycle over there. That is why the CTS is introduced. Okay, and CTS is operating actually in grid basis system. Now what is actually grid basis system? That the whole country is actually divided into 4 grids. Like we are having the north grid, south grid, and for the east grid and west grid over there, and based upon that actually the clearing system does takes place, and further the check can actually be cleared using the local clearing houses on T+1 basis now. Okay, and further as per the we know that there are a lot of number of checks actually which are not CTS, that is known CTS checks are there. For that particular purpose there is a separate clearing that is taking place over there. Okay, and RBI decided from November 1 2014 that these checks will be presented, like whatsoever the known CTS checks will be there. It was decided that from November 1 2014 all those known CTS checks will be presented for payment on every Monday, and further if the Monday is a public holiday, on that particular case on previous working day the clearing of the known CTS will take place. Okay, and further the drawings banks will return the known CTS 2010 standard instruments presented in the regular CTS clearing. Like if there is a CTS clearing and further the known CTS check was presented for clearing in the CTS clearing, in that particular case the code 37, that is the payment in proper zone, will be given as a note on the memo and it will be returned. Okay, that's actually related to it. Now let's understand the characteristics of the CTS first of all. Now as I told you that the physical movement of the check is actually truncated and only the electronic image of the paper check is taken and further that is transmitted. So only the bank involved in the clearing house can truncate the check over there. None other than the bank can actually truncate the check. Okay, so it's like just the case that the bank actually who is involved over there. Let's take the case that the A is a drawer of the instrument and further the instrument was given to person B. Now B person over here went to the bank XYZ. Now the bank XYZ bank is what? It is a collecting bank over here, and collecting bank is now involved in the process of the CTS over there, and also the clearing house will be involved in that. Now in that particular case the check, the physical movement of the check will be stopped by XYZ itself. It will be preparing the CTS clearing over here, and the electronic image along with the relevant data will be sent to the clearing house, and further then it will be cleared over there. So that is a process that will be taking place. I'll be letting you know each and every step in the process over there so that you can understand it in a better manner. Okay, so electronic image of the check truncated is actually substitutes what? It substitutes the physical check over there at that particular point, and further at the time of the truncation onwards over there. And for the truncation is done by during only the process of the clearing cycle to reduce the time taken for the realization. Particularly previously what happened that physical check was moving from one person or from one bank to another and further to the clearing house and then further to the paying bank over there, and that was a process that related to it. But now what happens that the actual check is retained by the collecting bank over here. The electronic image along with the relevant data is actually submitted to the clearing bank or clearing house over here, and from there the chart is prepared, and further the paying bank is sent the data, and further also the electronic image along with the relevant data is sent over there. The details are being checked and the account of the person A will be debited and the credit will be given over here, and then it will be settled in the books of the XYZ bank over here. So that's the case related to it. So as to reduce the realization period, the CTS process is there. Now paper check after truncation, it is kept in the custody of the bank or the clearing house that truncated the check. So either the bank XYZ must have actually truncated the check, that the physical movement of the check has been stopped, or it could be the case that the clearing house over here could have actually truncated the check over there. Now in addition to that, the digital signature of the truncating bank or clearing house to the electronic image of the check truncation is optional over there, but it is quite necessary so as to add an authenticity and add an extra layer of the security to it. Okay, then let us understand the benefits of the CTS over here. Now first of all, as a foremost benefit, that the physical movement of the check is now actually not there. Okay, so it actually saves a lot of time to the bank, and further it's a significant cost saving to the bank also, and also it reduces the liquidity requirement of the bank because consolidation of the of the different clearing houses has been done. Like previously there were multiple clearing houses in different cities and states and districts over there, but now there are 4 clearing houses, and that is actually consolidated the data on a large scale that actually saves the liquidity of the bank also. And also it has eliminated the micro amount encoding, like you have to encode the micro amount over there. There are the resolution differences over there at both the micro and the image data travel now. Okay, so actually those differences have now been reduced over there. And further, there is no risk because there is no physical movement of check, so there is no risk that the check can actually be lost, tampered, pilfered, or anything, or the manipulation of the data could be related to it, because it cannot be done over there, because the physical movement of the check is actually not there during the transit. Actually, it enhances their security and the automation system, and also from the customer point of view, there is reduction in the clearing cycle over there. And actually it has lowered the risk from the customer point of view also, because there the instrument now cannot be tampered and further cannot be lost in between the transit when it is moving from the collecting bank to the clearing house over there. And further, in case of need, the information, if it is required by the customer or it could be required by the paying bank over there, it can actually be taken easily over there. And also, as I told you, that the check is truncated either by the collecting bank or by the clearing house. In that particular case now, the check is actually being kept in safe custody by the collecting bank or the clearing house which has truncated the check, and a true copy can be obtained if it is required. Okay, then further it's related to, there is a benefit of standardization. Now there is a uniform process which is taking place and the uniform practices which are taking place, so there is a benefit of the standardization. And further, the no outstation check collection charges are actually implemented when the CTS in the same grade is taking place. Like I told you that the whole country has been actually divided into 4 grades. Now whether you are from Punjab or Delhi, if it is in under the same grade, in that particular case no outstation charges are to be imposed, because it is in the same grade or in the same CTS clearing center over there where the clearing is taking place, so no outstation charges will be imposed on that. So those are the benefits related to the CTS. I hope that you must have understood the same. Now, as per the approach to CTS, the whole country has been divided into 3 grades, not the 4. It has been divided into 3 grades, and those 3 grades are northern, western, and further the southern grades are there. And further, each is having a separate clearing house located at Delhi, Mumbai, and Chennai. Like the northern clearing system is actually based upon Delhi, the western is based upon Mumbai, the southern is based upon Chennai over there. Okay, so that's the approach related to it. And now, who are the participants in this particular CTS clearing process over there? So there are 3 participants. One of it is related to the member banks, who are the members of the clearing house. One of those are the sub member banks who will be participating through the members over there. Like those are not directly the members of the clearing house over there. Like we are having the clearing house, and further ABC bank is the member of the bank of the member of the clearing house over there. And further XYZ bank is not a direct member, but it is operating through the ABC bank over there. So that's actually related to what, that the XYZ bank is not direct member over here, but it is operating through the ABC bank over here. Okay, the indirect members are actually those members who actually participate for submission of the data and images through a member bank, but will maintain a separate settlement account. Okay, so indirect members are actually related to what, that they are having a separate settlement account over here. The settlement is actually not taking place through the ABC. So now when the settlement is taking place for XYZ bank through the ABC, in that particular case it is a sub member bank. And further, when actually XYZ bank is having a separate settlement account and settlement is taking place through that particular settlement account, but they are actually participating through the ABC bank who are members of the clearing house over here, in that particular case XYZ bank will be designated what, it will be designated as the indirect members over here. So that's actually the case related to it. Now let's understand the principles and practices of banking in CTS over there. Now banks actually need to transmit the clearing files. Now whatsoever the scanned checks we are having and whatsoever the data we are required to send to the clearing house over there, that will be sent through the clearing house interface. Okay, so there will be a clearing house interface through which the banks will be submitting the data. Like let's say that we are talking about the northern grid over there. Okay, in that particular case, whatsoever the banks actually there in the northern grid region over there, they will be actually collecting the data, and further they will be scanning the checks over there, and after scanning the checks over there, they will be actually entering the data related to the checks over there, and further will be submitting that particular data to the clearing house through the CHI, that is a clearing house interfaces, or the DEM, that is a data exchange modules over there. Okay, now the checks drawn on the banks within the grid jurisdiction are cleared as local checks. Now let's take the case, as I earlier told you, that the multiple banks are there in a single grid. now let's take the case that the Punjab and Haryana are under the same grid over there. Now in that particular case, whether the check is related to Punjab or it is related to Haryana, it will be actually be cleared as a local check, and it will be cleared on T+1 basis. T+1 basis means that if the check data is submitted today, the check will be cleared by tomorrow itself. Okay, and both the days are working days over here. Now let's understand the CTS process flow over here. It will get you to know that how actually the CTS work. So first of all, it's related to the presenting bank. Now for each of the check, there will be definitely be a presenting bank or branch over there, which will be actually collecting all the data, which will be capturing all the data, and further they will be also scanning the check over there at the branch level or at the service branch level over there. Now once the data is consolidated, now that particular data will be consolidated on city level and town level, and then for the bank level itself for that particular grid over there, and further that particular information by the collecting bank. Now we are having the collecting bank over here. Collecting bank will be consolidating the data related to the checks over here, and that data will be consolidated on city level, state level, and further the country level bank over there, and the grid level bank over there, and further that data will be submitted through the DEM or CHI, that is a clearinghouse interface, or the data exchange modules over there. That data will be submitted over there. Okay, so that's actually related to it. Then it's related to the presentation clearing over there. Now clearing house over here will be processing the data and arrives at the settlement figure. Now it would be the case that some of the checks are drawn on the other banks, and it could be the case that some checks are drawn on this particular collecting bank over there too. So that particular data figure will be, the net figure will be there, and the roots of the images and for the requisite data of the paying bank will take place in that particular case. Now let's take the case that the one check was drawn on bank ABC, that is a paying bank over there. Okay, now that particular image related to that particular check will be actually be transmitted to that particular bank over there. Now paying bank will be receiving the images and the data from the clearinghouse. Now clearinghouse interface will be actually be transmitting the data for that particular check. It could be the case that the collecting bank has actually going to collect the checks on ABC bank, on PQR bank, and so on. We are just talking about the ABC bank right now, that one of the check actually belong to ABC bank, which is the paying bank for the check over there. Now CHI will be transmitting the data related to check and further the relevant data to the ABC bank, that is a paying bank over here, and further which is done actually on the same day. Like if the data is submitted to CHI on today, then the data from CHI to the paying bank over here there will be submitted the same day. Now paying bank will also generate the return file for unpaid instrument. Let's say the instrument was not to be cleared. In that particular case, ABC bank will be preparing what? It will be preparing the return file. I'm just writing it over here because it's not clear. Okay, so it's a return file which will be prepared by the ABC bank, and that will be actually submitted again to CHI. Okay, now the return clearing actually is related to what? That I actually presented a check, but it is not to be cleared. Then the return clearing will take place. Okay, so the return file or data by the paying bank will be sent by the paying bank to the clearing house, and in returns clearing session on the same way as the presentation clearing way. Okay, so that was the data when submitted to the CHI by the collecting bank over there. That was the presentation clearing. Okay, and further when the data has been submitted by the CHI to the paying bank over there, in that particular case the return file will be submitted. That is actually what? That is a return return clearing over there, and return data is provided for the processing purposes over there. Okay, so that's actually related to it. So return cycle is completed on the following day. Okay, now let's take the case that today it is T. So the data, that is a presentation clearing, will take place today, and the data will be forwarded to what? The data will be forwarded to the paying bank over there, but the return clearing will take place the next day over there. So that's the process related to it. I hope that you must have understood. Then further it's related to settlement. Now based upon all the instruments that have been actually accepted during a session, that session means what? Session means that there is a presentation cycle and further there is a return cycle. When actually that has taken place, now each bank will be clear about what the situation related to that, what checks have been actually honored and what have been dishonored over there. Okay, so that's actually related to closure of the clearing window over there. So for each of the bank over there is a single settlement in the each grid over there. Okay, so for each of the bank in the single grid there is a single settlement. Okay, so banks need to maintain. Let's take the case that there is a collecting bank over there, and further they sent a check for the collection, and further the data was uploaded to CHI. The data is forwarded to the paying bank over there, and further the return is being filed on the next processing day over there, and the clearing cycle is actually completed. Now The case is that the collecting banks and each and every bank is actually to maintain a current account with the Reserve Bank of India, and they are to maintain the liquidity over there. They are to maintain the sufficient balances over there in the current account with the Reserve Bank of India, so as to meet the daily settlement obligation over there. Now clearing cycle is actually related to, there is a one presentation cycle and there is a one return cycle over there, and when it is all cleared, that is actually completing one clearing cycle over there. Okay, then it's related to the security feature. Now, because we are dealing with the financial data, the PKI system, that is the public key infrastructure, has been implemented in the CTS cases. Okay, and further it's related to endorsement. Now, at the time of scanning, a single line endorsement is printed on the back of each of the instrument with unique identifier for the instrument. Okay, now this instrument is actually to be endorsed over there. Now that particular instrument is endorsed in single line and further with a unique identifier, so as to identify that particular instrument over there. Now let's understand CTS differences for the bankers and the customers over there. Now we must be keeping one thing in mind at the JAIIB bank, that the paying bank is actually paying the check based only upon the images over there instead of the physical checks. Now it is crucial that we must be actually be having a clear pictures and scanning related to these instruments, and further the physical movement is actually not available to the paying bank. Okay, so as to ensure the integrity of the system over there, the customers and the presentation banks must have new responsibilities related to CTS over there, which the customers must also be understanding. Okay, first of all, they must be using the CTS instruments on compliant instruments only, because other types of instruments leaves actually may not be providing the proper scanning of the images over there, and further so as to use the image friendly colored and the permanent ink over there, and also they must be writing clearly and legibly on the instrument so that can be read easily by the bank's concerned bank over there. Okay, because the images only are going to travel over there, and further all details must be written like the beneficiary name, the date, and further the amount in words and figures over there using the same pen and at one time only, and the amount in words is to begin with the word rupees, and that must be nearer to the word rupees over there, and without too much space and further at end that must be usage of the word only over there. So that's actually related to precautions that are to be taken care by the customers over there, and there are additional precautions for the presenting bank too. First of all, they must ensure that the checks so deposited are CTS 2010 standards compliant checks only, so that there are proper images only and not the improper images must be avoided, and further they must be checking that all the details have been written properly on the instrument over there, because it could be the case that the details are not properly written and the check must be returned back. Okay, so that must be actually be avoided, and further they must be scrutinizing the check clearly that if there is any material alteration that must be detected by the presenting bank only, that is a collecting bank only. Okay, because previously the liability was actually related to what, like material alteration or anything, the liability was on the paying bank over there, but now there is no physical movement of the check and the check is truncated at the collecting bank and presenting bank only. Now in that particular case, it's a duty of the collecting bank so as to check if there is any material alteration in that particular regard. Okay, now that particular responsibility of the paying bank is now transferred and shifted to the presenting bank under the CTS over there, and further so as to ensure that the identification of its customer has been done properly, so as to mitigate the risk of fraudulent checks being deposited over there. So that must also be taken care by the presenting bank over there. Now let's understand the CTS check images over there. Now CTS in India is actually using a combination of the grayscale, black and white images over there. Okay, so 3 images of the checks are to be obtained. For the front side, the grayscale image is obtained, and from the back side, black and white, and for the black and white images is to be obtained. Like from the front side, we have to obtain 2 images, that is a gray and for the black and white, and further from the back of side of the check over there, the black and white image is to be obtained over there. So images of the checks are taken using the specific scanners only. The presenting bank has to digitally sign on the images of the checks over there, and further the data at the point of origin itself. Okay, so that the digital signs must be added to these scanned images over there when these images have the origin of these images have taken place. Okay, then it's a case of the CTS positive pay system. Now RBI actually introduced the positive pay system for the CTS purposes with effect from the 1st of January 2021. Now it's actually related to reconfirming the key details of the large value checks over there. Now, whensoever the large value check is being drawn, in that particular case, the key details related to check are electronically submitted. Like the minimum details related to data or what date is on the instrument over there, the name of the beneficiary or the payee over there, the amount, etc. These details are taken and further are actually passed to the dry bank, and further details of which are cross-checked with the presented check. Okay, now the paying bank, let me just tell you the through an inference over there, the details are actually submitted by the issuer, that is a drawer over here, will be submitting those details electronically to the drawee over here, that the bank, drawee bank over there or the paying bank over here, and further these details are cross-checked with the check image which has been transmitted to the drawee bank over here. Okay, so that's the case related to the CTS positive pay system. Then it's related to RBI guidelines on collection of instruments. Now, first of all, it's related to that there must be immediate credit for local and outstation checks over there, and time frame must be decided related to the local and outstation instruments. And further, if there is delayed collection related to the local or outstation instrument, in that particular case, interest whatsoever will be paid by the bank over there, that must be decided, and that must be a policy must be there related to it, and that must be paid. Okay, so it's actually related to that the banks have been decided so as to reframe the check collection policies to include the compensation which will be payable by the bank itself on the daily interest rate that is to be paid by the bank to the person over there, to the concerned person over there, if there is delay in the collection of the instrument over there. Okay, and further the policy should be based on the following broad principle. First of all, it's related to that there must be a comprehensive and transparent policy so as to cover the three aspects. Okay, then first of all, it's related to review their existing arrangements. We must be having the existing arrangements, we must be reviewing them, and further we must be working out a scheme that can actually reduce the collection period over there, and further there must be adequate care so as to ensure that the interest of small depositors are protected over there. So there are three aspects. First of all, it's related to immediate credit for local and outstation check over there, time frame related to collection of the local and outstation instruments over there, and interest payment in case of delayed collection is there. So these three aspects must be comprehensively be added to the policy, that is the check collection policy of the banks over there. So that's actually related to it. Okay, the policy should clearly lay down the liability of the banks, that what liability will be there if there is delay at the bank of the collecting bank over there, related to what interest payment will be paid to the customers if they are not complying with the standards which they have set for themselves in their CCP, that is a check collection policy over there. And compensation by way of interest payment should be made without any claim from the customer. So it should not be like that the customer must be raising the claim related to the delay of the checks will be to collected over there, but it must be paid automatically. Compensation by way of interest should be made without any claim from the customer itself. Okay, then it's related to collection of the account pay check. Now, under the law, actually it is prohibited, and also RBI has prohibited the banks so as to crediting the account pay check to the account of any other customer than the payee itself. Like let's say that the check was in the name of Shanti, and further that the account must be credited, the amount must be credited in the account of Shanti only. Okay, if the check was account pay in the name of Shanti customer over there, then the check amount so collected must be credited to the Shanti account only and not other than that. Okay, that is actually there so as to protect the banks from being burdened with the liabilities of unauthorized collection. Like let's say any other person visited and further the check related to the name of Shanti was actually be presented over there, the check was collected and it was actually collected in some other account. So it should not be done because it is against law and has also been prohibited by the Reserve Bank of India. And also it is there so as to maintain the integrity and soundness of the payment and banking system over there, and so as to prevent the recurrence of deviations observed that has been observed in the past over there. So account pay deposit checks must be deposited, must be actually collected in the name of that particular account name person only, in whose name the check has been drawn over there. Okay, so account pay checks deposited with a sum member for credit to their customer's account can be collected by the sponsor member bank of the clearing house. Now let me elaborate that particular point to you. Let's take the case that the ABC bank is here, which is a sub member, and further it is not directly taking place into the clearing house over there, and it is actually participating in the clearing house through bank XYZ over here. Now the check is actually in the name of Shanti and further has been presented to the bank ABC over here, but now ABC bank is actually not participating directly in the clearing house, the great clearing house over here. So the check is to be collected through the member bank, that is the XYZ bank over here. Now the check will be is cleared and further the amount is collected by the XYZ bank over here. Now the credit will be passed on to ABC bank. Now Now in the books of XYZ bank, the account is not credited related to Shanti over here, it is credited to the bank account over here. So that is actually allowed in that particular case over there. I hope that you must have understood. And further, so as to mitigate the difficulties faced by the members of cooperative credit societies. Now let's take the case of the cooperative credit societies. In that particular case also, there are multiple and numerous members which are actually associated with the cooperative society over there. And further, let's take the case, the check related to cooperative society is being produced and further given to this particular ABC bank over there, and further that can also be collected up to a limit of rupees 7,50,000 over there. And further, RBI has actually advised this particular case that this can be considered in case of the cooperative credit societies, that the account pay checks which have been actually produced, which have been actually presented by the cooperative society over here, cooperative credit society over here, that particular check can be collected up to the amount of rupees 7,50,000 to the accounts that the cooperative credit societies have been maintaining. Okay, so that's actually related to it. But let's take the case that the check related to the Shanti over here, which is a constituent and which is a member of this cooperative credit society over here, has been presented by the cooperative credit society to the ABC bank over here. In that particular case, the account can be credited. The account can be credited of cooperative society, whether the check was in the name of Shanti over here, but it has been actually been presented by cooperative credit society over here. The amount allowed is rupees 7.5 lakh. That up to this particular limit, if it is in the name of the constituent member of the cooperative credit society, it can be actually collected and further be credited into the name of into the account of cooperative credit society over there. That is related to the checks instruments lost in transit in clearing process at the paying bank branch over there. Now there can be the instances over there when where the checks lost in transit or in the clearing process over there or at paying bank's branch over there. Now in that particular case, the bank must be taking immediate steps over there. The bank must be immediately informing the account holder. Now first case, it's related to, let's take the case that the A person over here has actually presented the check, but it is now lost. Whether it is lost in the transit over there, whether it was lost in the clearing process over there, whether it was lost in at the paying bank's branch over there, that is actually not possible in case of CTS, but definitely it can be also be the case that the check was actually given for presentation to the bank ABC over here, but ABC before presenting the check has actually lost the check over there. In that particular case, ABC bank will be actually informing this particular case immediately to the account holder over there, so that they can actually informing the drawer over here. They can actually inform the drawer over there. And also it could also be the case that A must have actually issued further checks. Now those checks also will be dishonored because amount which the A was actually anticipating that will be credited to the A's account over here is not now going to be credited over there because that instrument is lost. So that information must be immediately provided to the person A, that is the account holder over here, that your instrument is now lost over there. Okay, and the onus of the loss actually lies on the collecting bank over there and not on the account holder, because it is a collecting bank which has actually lost the instrument. So whether the instrument is lost at the collecting bank, whether in the clearing house over there, or whether at the paying bank branch over there, the onus actually lies on the collecting bank over there. So bank should reimburse the account holder related expenses, like if they want to obtain a duplicate check over there, so whatever the expenses over there, those are to be compensated by the collecting bank over here. Okay, and further, if the check and instrument has been lost on the paying bank branch, if the check has been lost on the paying bank branch, the collecting banker should have a right, like if the collecting bank is ABC and further the paying bank is XYZ bank over here, and further the instrument was lost by the XYZ bank over here, first of all ABC bank will be compensating, and ABC bank will be having a right that they can actually ask for compensation from the XYZ bank over here, that is the paying bank over here, if the instrument is lost at the paying bank's branch over there. So that's the case related to the same. Now it's related to the bills for collection. Like the checks are sent for collection, it is also the case that the bills may be sent for collection, whether those are discounted or sent for the collection purposes over there. And further, in that case also there can be a delay. And further, if the lodger banks, the delays from the lodger bank, let's take the case that the ABC is a firm over here which is having a bill in its name, and further that is actually presented to the bank XYZ over here for collection purposes. Now actually there is a delay at the XYZ bank, and it's actually the delay in collection is there. Now in that particular case, XYZ bank is what? It is a lodger bank over here to whom the instrument has been lost for the collection purposes over there. So in that particular case, if the delay is there for the collection over there, so for that particular case, the 2% per annum interest rate, the interest is payable by the lodging bank to the party over there in their saving bank account. Okay, so whatsoever the saving bank balance is, interest rate is there plus 2% per annum interest rate, that is to be actually paid for the delayed period to the ABC party over here. So that's the case related to it. I hope that you must have understood the same. Now let's move to the next part. It's related to the cash and its custody. Now, particularly the cash and whatsoever the small account, small coin balances are there, they must be kept in the strong room under there, and further those must be under the joint custody of the head cashier and the cashier over there, and manager must be the in charge related to the joint custody over there. And further, no member of the staff other than the cashier and the teller services receives the cash over the counter from the depositors over there. So it's none of the other persons are having the right related to depositing the cash or receiving the cash. Okay, so note counting machines must be provided so as for a quicker handling of the currency notes over there. Now let's understand related to the strong room and safe. So there must be a strong room and further must be a safe over there, which must be under the dual custody of the head cashier and the cash officer over there, and the manager is the in charge of the cash over there. So both the official must be present over there when the strong or safe is opened. And further it's related to cash balance of the bank. So bulk of the cash balance must always be in the strong room or under the safe under the joint custody over there, while the remainder, like for day-to-day correction, for day-to-day transaction purposes, let's take the case that the branch balance was rupees 40 lakh. In that particular case, let's say 30 lakh is actually maintained in the safe strong room over there or safe over there under the joint custody, and further the rest of balance is actually maintained with the head cashier and the cashier over there for day-to-day transaction purposes. Okay, then it's related to the checking of cash balances. So before taking notes and coins into the joint custody balance, the supervising official will check the correctness of the denominations so mentioned on the cash book over there. Then it's related to shortage or excess in cash. So whether it's the case of shortage or whether there is excess of cash, that must be reported over there. So system of recording denomination wise number of the pieces of the currency notes must be there for every of the receipt and every of the payment. Now whensoever the payment is made, there is a denomination that must be noted down, and further whensoever we are receiving the payment also, there the denomination must be noted down over there, both on the voucher and on the cash register as well as there. Okay, and further it's related to when there is shortage or excess of cash. Now when there is shortage of cash, that must be recovered from the cash officer, the concerned cash officer, or the head cashier over there, or the cashier over there, who will be in return will be recovering from the concerned employee over there. Okay, and further failing if there actually the cash shortage is there, and further there is no recovery from the concerned person over there, in that particular case the amount must be debited from the suspense account taking the signature of the concerned employee who is responsible for the shortage of cash over there. Let's take the case that the person A was given responsibility related to cash and there was shortage of rupees 500. Now this 500 are to be basically recovered from person A. Now if the recovery is not there, in that particular case on the same day if the recovery is not there, in that particular case a debit voucher will be posted to the suspense account, and the signatures of A must be taken on that particular voucher over there, and subsequently after that the amount is to be recovered from that particular person over here. Okay, and also if there is excess of cash in that particular case also, whatsoever the excess amount is there, that must be credited to the sundry deposit account on the same day itself. And if a customer makes a complaint of having received a cash in short or must have paid the cash in excess over there, for after satisfying about the genuineness of the complaint over there, the amount must be debited. Now let's say the case that the excess of cash was rupees 1500 was there. Now that particular amount must be credited to the sundry account over there. And further, if a customer lodged a complaint, so it could be the case first of all that he had made a payment. Let's say the case we are taking the from the customer point of view, that he actually has withdrawn the money and he received rupees 1500 short. Okay, it could be the case, or it could be the case that the customer has deposited the amount and further he actually deposited rupees 1500 in excess over there. In both the cases, if the customer has lodged a complaint and if the complaint is genuine enough, after satisfying about the complaint of the customer, the amount must be debited from the sundry account over there where the excess cash was kept over there, was credited over there, that must be paid to the customer. Okay. The next point, it is related to remittance of cash. Now, when the cash is to be remitted from one office to another or from one branch to another, it is always entrusted to employees over there, and night journeys and unusual halts at the junctions must be avoided. And further, the remittance box must always be transported in a van that is provided by the bank over there, and box in which the cash is actually kept over there must be securely chained and further locked to another fixed object in the van over there, and register must be maintaining the record of all the cash remittances from that particular branch to other branches over there, so that those precautions are to be taken. And it's related to cash replenishment at the ATMs over there. Now, ATM machines must be filled with adequate amount of cash over there. That is important so as to avoid the cash out situations, and there must be uninterrupted services. Those must be provided to the customers over there. Now, staff whosoever is involved in the cash replenishment over there, they must be thoroughly checked and further must be thoroughly screened, and the photos and biometric prints must be taken at each and every point over there. Then it's related to insurance. Now, all the cash remittances in transit must be covered with the bank insurance policy, and each and every bank is actually having insurance up to some particular point. Let's say the case that the bank is having a cash and remittance policy for up to amount which is covering amount up to rupees 50 lakh. So in no case without the permission or written permission from the regional office or the zonal office, the cash in remittance amount must not be exceeding rupees 50 lakh, because the insurance is available up to rupees 50 lakh only, and that must be taken care of. Okay, then further it's related to custody of keys. Now, particular of all the important keys, whether it's the cash key, strong room key, or the safe key over there, that must always be registered, that must always be entered into the key register, and all the details related to the original keys and for the duplicate keys must be mentioned therein. And further, in case of safes previously handled by unauthorized officials over there, those locks and levers must be changed over there. And if there is any need related to repair of those locks over there, that must always be carried out in the supervision of manager and the cash officer, head cashier and cashier under the joint control. Okay, and whenever a lock is changed or the levers of the locks are changed, it must be noted in the key register over there. Then it's related to duplicate key. Now, actually there are two sets. One, it is related to original set, and the other one, it is related to duplicate keys. Now, the details are to be entered into the key register. All the details, whether it's related to the original keys or the duplicate keys, those must be entered into the key register over there. And further, the rotation related to the keys must be there at least once in a year. And further, the duplicate keys, after packing them and further sealing them into a white cloth and into the waterproof cloth over there, and within a with their good and hard box over there, those must be placed at some other branch in that particular locality only. Okay, so the sealed pockets must be placed in strong wooden or tin box over there, and those must be locked and must be otherwise secured over there, must be wrapped with the waterproof cloth over there, and the cloth must be sealed over there. And further, those are to be kept in some another local branch of the same bank or of some other bank over there. Okay, so duplicate keys must be withdrawn from the safe custody and must be rotated at least once in a year. Okay, then it's related to security measures that must be kept into view in the branches and the ATMs over there. First of all, it's related to location and layout related security measures. So the location of the branch must be chosen keeping in the safety and security in view. Okay, so the branch must not be on the outskirts, so it should be basically the police authorities should be consulted before deciding a branch location over there, whether there is proper patrolling over there, and it should be in proximity to the police station over there. And further, the layout of the branch must also be in such a way that whatsoever the cabins, whether it's a manager cabin, cash vaults or a strong room over there, those must be kept in view from the security point of view. Then it's related to protective fittings related. Now, there must be shutter gate on the main entrance, and there must be a collapsible gate with a chain over there, locking arrangements must be there, and there should be only 8-inch opening in the collapsible gate over there that must be fitted in the entrance of the branch over there. So strong rooms must be having the grill gates between them, and further the windows, ventilators should be having a proper standard grill over there. Unnecessary windows should be walled, and that is the major thing related to the protectiveness related over there. And then it's related to electronic security gadgets. Nowadays a lot of security gadgets are available, like we are having the CCTVs, we are having the X-ray scanners, we are having the electronic locks, we are having the hotlines, we are having the auto dialers. Those must be used so that we can actually safeguard our branch. Okay, so these devices actually help in reducing the delay in communication to the police and further identifying the culprits so that we can catch them easily. So, and also the emergency lights and alarms must be installed and should always be in working condition. So fire protection also must be there. There must be adequate number of the fire extinguishers that must be available, and there must be a routine fill up of those, refilling of those instruments extinguishers over there, and also there must be smoke detectors. Those should be fitted at the various points over there. And then it's related to security guard related. So posting of the security guard must be decided based upon the vulnerability of the branch. Now if we consider that the branch is situated at a high risk, in the high risk location or area over there must be armed guards which must be there. Other than that, we can go for the normal guards also. Okay, so the currency chest branches must be having at least 2 armed guards during the working hours and 1 armed guard around the clock over there. So that's actually the criteria related to the security guards over there. Then it's related to firearms related. Now firearms should always be in the working condition. All the armed guards must be cleaning and maintaining the guns regularly so that they can remain in the working conditions over there. Now let's learn about the currency chest specific measures over there. Now security arrangements in the currency chest should meet up with the security standards over there. Those are actually issued by the Banking Division, Ministry of Finance, Government of India over there. So first of all, there must be installation of the steel barricades. The currency chest area must be segregated from the branch hole. Like in most of the cases, what is there, that the branch is in the upper area and further the chest area is segregated over. So that thing must be maintained, and further there must be barricades and must be installed over there. So positioning of armed guards must be on duty in front of the currency chest over there. As I told you that in case of currency chest, there must be 2 armed guards during the working hours, and further 1 armed guard must be available 24/7 over there. Okay, and then it's related to payment and movement of large or bulk cash. So whensoever there is payment of large amount of cash that is to be made, and in that particular case the payment is to be made inside the strong room or enclosures only, and also always be away from the public view. Okay, then it's related to the counterfeit notes. Now counterfeit notes are related to the fake currency notes which are there in the circulation, and in no case no credit must be actually be given to the customer's account. Like if person A has deposited a counterfeit currency note over there, in that particular case no credit must be given to the person A account over there if the counterfeit currency note is detected over there. Okay, and further it should not be returned. It should not be returned to the tender over there. It should not be destroyed over there. These must be stamped as counterfeit note over there and are to be impounded and not to be given back to the customer over there. Now incident of detection of the counterfeit notes are to be reported to the police as per the rules available over there. So now if the transactions are actually involving 4 pieces of counterfeit notes over there, now I'm telling you that if the transaction is involving 4 pieces of counterfeit notes over there, in that particular case a consolidated detail must be actually be maintained in a prescribed format over there, and that must be sent by the nodal bank officer to the police authorities. That must be sent to the police authorities or to the nodal police station along with the suspect counterfeit notes over there at the end of the month, if the 4 notes of the 4 pieces are actually detected in one transaction over there. And further, for every transaction which is involving 5 or more pieces of the counterfeit currency, in that particular case FIR on prescribed format with the counterfeit currency must be filed immediately by the nodal bank officer with the local police authorities. Okay, so in that particular case, when we are having the 5 pieces of fake currency notes with us, in that particular case immediate FIR is to be actually be lodged by the nodal bank officer with the local police authorities over there. A copy of the monthly consolidated report or FIR must be sent to the vigilance cell at the head office over there. So that's actually related to the counterfeit currency and all related to the operational aspects on the handling of the clearing houses. So that will be all related to this particular video. I hope that you must have liked the video. So if you have liked the video, do give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to like and share our content. And you can get the full courses visiting our website iibf.info, and you can also download our Android application which is available in the name of IIBF Learning Center. If you're Android user and further if you're iOS user, do download My Institute application and use the organization code JAIIB CAIIB. So that would be all. Thank you so much and see you again in the next video.